Hey there everyone, today we are heading into the world of anime to give you the list of top 10 anime series and movies which you definitely should not miss, so let's dive straight in. Number 10 Look Back. 4th grader Ayumu Fujino regularly draws 4-panel manga for her school newspaper and is lauded as having the best artwork in her class. One day, she is asked by her teacher to turn over one of her manga slots in the school newspaper to a truant student named Kayomoto. When Kayomoto's manga pops up alongside Fujino's, it receives high praises for its detailed artwork, making Fujino furiously jealous. Refusing to be beaten by someone who barely attends school, Fujino devotes herself to learning to create manga. As time goes on though, her goal of outshining Kayomoto seems to only get further and further away, and Fujino, now in 6th grade, eventually gives up and quits making manga. Graduation day arrives, and Fujino is asked to deliver Kayomoto's graduation certificate to her. Through chance, the two end up coming face to face, and their unexpected meeting will end up having consequences far beyond what either of them could ever predict. Number 9 Patima Inverted. Patima is a plucky young girl from an underground civilization boasting an incredible network of tunnels. Inspired by a friend that mysteriously went missing, she is often reprimanded due to her constant excursions of these tunnels due to her royal status. After she enters what is known as the Forbidden Zone, she accidentally falls into a giant bottomless pit after being startled by a strange creature. Finding herself on the surface, a world literally turned upside down, she begins falling towards the sky only to be saved by Age, a discontented student of the totalitarian nation known as Ega. The people of Ega are taught to believe that inverts, like Patima, are sinners that will be swallowed by the sky, but Age has resisted this propaganda and decides to protect his new friend. A chance meeting between two curious teenagers leads to an exploration of two unique worlds as they begin working together to unveil the secrets of their origins in Sakasama no Patima, a heartwarming film about overcoming differences in order to coexist. Number 8 Mind Game. After seeing her jump onto a subway at the last second and getting her ankle crushed between the doors, Nishi reconnects with his high school sweetheart, Mayan. Nishi is still very much in love with Mayan, but is shocked to learn that she is engaged to another man. Nishi agrees to meet Mayan's fiancé at her family's yakitori restaurant, but members of the Yakuza storm the joint and murder Nishi when he tries to stop them from raping Mayan. Nishi, now dead, wakes up and meets a constantly shape-shifting god, who mocks him for dying. The god tells Nishi to walk into a portal and disappear from existence, which Nishi rejects, choosing instead to sprint past the god and reanimate. With a new outlook on life and knowledge of how the Yakuza are going to attack him, Nishi kills one of the Yakuza with his own gun, fleeing in a stolen car with Mayan and her sister. Acclaimed director Masaki Yuasa's debut film, Mind Game's constantly shifting visuals tell a story about living one's life without regrets that is unlike any other. Number 7 The Boy and Heron. 3 years into the war, Mahito Maki loses his mother in a tragic fire at the hospital. Shortly thereafter, his father marries Natsuko, the younger sister of Mahito's mother. They take Mahito out of Tokyo to seek refuge in his late mother's rural family home. There, Mahito is constantly taunted by a strange gray heron, who seems to have taken an interest in him. Unable to come to terms with his loss and struggling to adjust to a new life in an unfamiliar place, the boy is shocked to discover that Natsuko is pregnant. To make matters worse, the pesky heron can speak, and claims that Mahito's mother is still alive, luring him into a mysterious tower near the residence. The heron says that Mahito can save her from death, but the boy is not easily swayed. When Natsuko disappears one day, however, Mahito watches her walk into the tower and becomes compelled to venture in to rescue her. He soon finds himself falling into another world below his, where life and death seem to be entwined. As he navigates through this foreign realm to find Natsuko, Mahito must understand what it means to live if he wants to safely return home. Number 6 Garden of Words. The story had an elegant touch of minimalism. It began with a chance encounter between two strangers sitting on a park bench on a rainy day. He was a 15-year-old loner whose only interest was to become a shoemaker. She was a 27-year-old ostracized teacher who was innocently blamed for having relations with a teenage boy in her class. They were both at odds with society, with no certain futures in sight. Their common insecurity ignited a spark of familiarity, which led them to connect. Every time it rained, they cut class and worked to sit next to each other on the same park bench. As fate would have it, two lost souls found comfort where they least expected. Before long, however, what started as an innocent connection developed into deeper feelings. The teacher's inclusive nature and pure attention were mistaken for affection, which led to the pouring out of the young boy's heart. The dawning realization that their relationship could not be turned into emotional torment for them both. After that, the relationship seemed to wither, but losing true connection might prove an even harder blow to their aching souls. Number 5 To the Forest of Firefly and Lights. During a summer vacation at her grandfather's house, 6-year-old Hotaru Takagawa gets lost in a forest rumored to be inhabited by spirits. While crying out in desperation, Hotaru is approached by Jin, a mysterious boy wearing a mask, who offers to help her. Overjoyed at the sight of another person, Hotaru runs to Jin with open arms only to be rudely fended off. However, she quickly learns the grave reason behind his behavior. A dreadful curse has been cast upon Jin. Should he ever be touched by a human being, he will disappear forever. Though Jin urges her to never return, Hotaru does the exact opposite, and before too long, the two become close friends despite his delicate situation. Nonetheless, as years pass and their mutual feelings grow stronger, Hotaru and Jin start struggling with the boundaries that destiny has set between them. Number 4. Grave of the Fireflies. As World War II reaches its conclusion in 1945, Japan faces widespread destruction in the form of American bombings, devastating city after city. Hotaru no Haka, also known as Grave of the Fireflies, is the story of Seita and his sister Setsuko, two Japanese children whose lives are ravaged by the brutal war. They have lost their mother, their father, their home, and the prospect of a bright future, all tragic consequences of the war. Now orphaned and homeless, Seita and Setsuko have no choice but to drift across the countryside, beset by starvation and disease. Met with the apathy of adults along the way, they find that desperate circumstances can turn even the kindest of people cruel, yet their youthful hope shines brightly in the face of unrelenting hardship, preventing the siblings from swiftly succumbing to an inevitable fate. Number 3. Suzume. On her way to school one day, Suzume Iwato stumbles upon Sota Munakata, a young man searching for abandoned areas. The high school girl directs Sota to a nearby ruin, but out of pure curiosity, she herself decides to head to the same destination. Once there, Suzume discovers an isolated door with a dreamlike universe lying beyond it. A place that she can see and feel, but not enter. A strange stone rests on the ground nearby, but it turns into a cat-like creature and scurries away when Suzume lifts it. Suddenly afraid, she heads back toward her school, not realizing that her act of leaving the door open will have consequences. With the keystone released, the evil within the other universe can now freely escape and wreak havoc throughout Japan. Intending to correct her dangerous mistake, Suzume joins Sota, whose true goal is to prevent evil from festering, in finding and locking all open doors before the country is destroyed. Number 2. The Girl from the Other Side. In a medieval-like world where a destructive curse spreads by touch and turns people into black, skull-faced monsters called outsiders, the inside inhabited by people is shrinking every year. Merciless purges of people who are suspected to have been in contact by outsiders are performed by the soldiers in service of the king, and their bodies are abandoned to the outside. Shiva, a 6-year-old girl, has been abandoned in the outside woods by an old woman she calls her auntie. She is found by an outsider who she starts to call Teacher. Teacher has been living in an abandoned house near an abandoned village for some years, and is different and more human-like than the other outsiders. Even though he doesn't sleep or eat, the two start living as a makeshift family. However, Teacher can't recall his own past, and can't bring himself to tell Shiva, who every day cheerily waits for her auntie to come get her back, that she has been abandoned. The two can also never touch, as Teacher is afraid he'll spread the curse to Shiva. There are also other outsiders lurking in the forests who are interested in Shiva, call her a soul and would like to take her to their mother at the bottom of a lake. They are very different from Teacher, and make Teacher question everything he knows about the world. At the same time, soldiers from the inside are also looking for Shiva for some reason. Number 1. Over the Sky. High schoolers Mio Miyamasu and Arata Kishimo are childhood friends. Mio harbors feelings for Arata, but she lacks the courage to express them. Even when her friend Madoka asks if she is in love with Arata, Mio reluctantly declines and encourages her friend to pursue her own feelings for him instead. Later, while Mio and Arata visit a fortune teller, the boy notices a strange phenomenon and tries to drag Mio out of the shop. Much to her annoyance, as Mio begins to question her relationship with Arata, an argument erupts between them. That night, feeling guilty for what had occurred, Mio ventures into the rain to apologize to Arata and make her feelings clear. However, an accident along the way turns Mio's world upside down. So that's it for the list. If you found the video interesting, make sure to like, share and subscribe the channel. Thank you.